One deal done in the big money league for a quarterback in Superflex, indeed. And we're still on the hunt for a running back in the Dynasty Depot. Let's get to it.
Go district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Dynasty Land? I'm back here with my boy, the overhyped sleeper, my fellow co-owner, Dan. I love doing these, because we usually do them on a Friday. Who doesn't love a Friday? And we get to talk our favorite thing, Dynasty trades in some of our high-stakes team that we co-own. How you doing today, buddy? And a little excited for today. We actually got a deal done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice to get one of them that goes through to the finish line. So it wasn't the deal we proposed, but it was a deal that worked for us and for the other team.
For those just tuning in, we appreciate you guys tuning in with us. We do these on the weekly, basically going through our co-owned Dynasty teams that we have in some high-stakes leagues, Dan and I. And if you're listening to podcast format, it's been a little inconsistent, the formats in the podcast format streets, but we're going to get back on track with that. We've got some changes happening behind the scenes with the whole player profiler thing. So make sure you tune into that every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Player Profiler YouTube channel. And Dan, let's dive into this. We were looking for, actually, you know what? Before I do this, I want to go to the roster. So prior to this deal, we had Josh Allen, Tom Brady, RIP, Nick Foles, RIP, and Gardner Minshew, probably your favorite quarterback, Dan. Come on, you got to admit that.
I mean, all we can do is just hope that somebody somewhere will give him a chance to start. I mean, this guy is a Ryan Fitzpatrick in the making. All he needs, he just needs to be doing his tour of teams. Fitzpatrick just got luckier, that's all. He kept falling into situations where the starter just sucked, and Minshew has kind of had the opposite luck.
Yeah, well, look, he's got a rookie coming into town, so there's no guarantees, right? He might get a chance. Yeah. He's a nice depth piece in Superflex, but let's face it, we needed a QB2, and we needed one pretty badly. Considering this is a contending team, we finished second, Dan, last year.
Yes, second.
So we want to keep that roll going. As you can see, pretty stacked. This is a tight end premium Superflex. We've got Kittle as our lead tight end. We've got Conklin for depth, who's going to be, nicely placed now with Rodgers, Jelani Woods, which is a piece that we both like very much. And then the Brevin Jordans, Anthony Ferkshires to add depth there. And then at receiver, we've got Stephon Diggs, who we pair up with Allen, Zay Jones, Alan Lazard, Tyler Lockett, Michael Thomas, who we hope can resurrect this year. And then Mike Williams was a piece that we offered initially in this deal, Dan.
Yes. And holding on to him doesn't bother me at all.
And that's the beauty of it. So we got this deal done. We don't need to talk about the running backs necessarily today because it wasn't really part of the deal. You can see them on the screen there. But if I go back to my screen with the actual transactions, you can see that Dan and I initially offered Mike Williams and the 2024 first for Tua and a 2024 second. And Ryan graciously sent back Tua for our 24 first and a 24 third. So as a contending team, Dan, like you said, not having to give up a nice piece like Mike Williams for a contender going into 23, we still get our guy. We still move the pick that we initially had decided we would move for a quarterback. and we just added a third round. So how do you feel about it? I feel pretty good about this deal.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it too. I mean, basically, if you do the math the way I think I learned it in elementary school, and do the cross out things that are the same on both sides, the difference in the deal was that we traded a second and a third basically to hang on to Mike Williams and still get Tua. So.
Yeah.
And that's a nice deal for us because we're win now. So Mike Williams is a great piece for us, and so next year we don't have our first, we don't have our second. We did have an extra third, so we've got a third. So we haven't totally stripped ourselves out of draft picks for next year, but we did get that quarterback, which we really need. That's worth giving up the first. And Tua, I think is a great piece to go after because he's. You were just talking about it earlier before we came on air. Sometimes going after the assets that everybody's saying are a sell is the easiest way to get to a buy.
Mm-hmm. That's the low hanging fruit, Dan. Sometimes is going against the current. Sometimes just takes too much energy as we get older. So you learn to kind of go for the low hanging fruit in a lot of aspects in life, and Dynasty is no different. I find people try to make things complicated, especially at certain positions, like running back and quarterback specifically. You can buy those dips because those are positions that they're needed, right? Clearly, but It's a position where it's easy to know who is going to be in when, and that to me is what differentiates those two positions. The other thing I wanted to look at, so if you guys notice at the top of the page there that I have with regards to the offers, we had an offer as well. Our buddy Nate sent us an offer, which was Kyler Murray for Saquon Barkley and our first. So we got Tua. I don't know, Dan, where you have Murray now in your dynasty rankings. I feel like if that's the cost to get Murray, I like, it kind of makes me even feel better about this deal.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the main thing is that Murray just wasn't a good fit for our team because we're looking to win this year.
Coming off injury.
Yep, exactly. So when you're looking to do that, I mean, Murray might not play at all this year. He might play the second half of the season. We just don't know. So that was a situation we didn't really need to be sticking our nose into. And that's something we could explore, once we know Murray's fine or whatever. But, for now, he just doesn't fit our needs at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've got Tua and Kyler pretty close, actually, dynasty routine-wise. All right. So it was nice because we came on air last week. And, guys, if you didn't get to see that, Dan and I just go through putting the offer together. We sent out a couple offers in that episode. Go check it out. Last week's episode, I believe it's episode 5. It's out there on YouTube. And like I said, I'll be dropping all the episodes that haven't been dropped on podcasts in the next 2 or 3 days there. So get ready for those listening in podcast, especially you, Andrew. I know you've been asking. We want to make sure you get your logistics right. I don't want you to get to spend too much time on your podcast scheduling. But in all seriousness, the Dynasty Depot, Dan, is a no-joke league. We're looking at some of these rosters, just kind of scrolling through prior, knowing that we were going to look through them for this deal. But we were going after running back. Right now we've got Aaron Jones, Devin Singletary. This is a tight end premium on the FFPC, non-Superflex, 1 QB. Like I said, tight end premium. But on depth-wise, we only had Tank Bigsby that we got in our draft, and Malik Davis, Leonard Fournette, and Rasheem Mostert.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of depth pieces or whatever. Aaron Jones leads the charge. Several candidates for RB2, but it would be nice to.
I was wondering how you're going to word that.
Candidates.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
hey man, you got to admit, Fournette lands into the right place. If there's an injury or something, that could be gold.
Right. And I think Mostert's going to have a role in Miami. I mean, Achane's not going to be doing everything, obviously, at 188 pounds or 78 pounds or whatever he is. Tank Bigsby, I think, might develop a role in Jacksonville. Devin Singletary might develop a good role in Houston. He might be the pass catching back. So there's some possibilities there. Malik Davis probably is going to. I think there's a good chance he's the one Tyler Murray or Tyler Murray. Oh, wait. Tony Pollard.
Who did we have on, Dan, recently that was talking about Malik Davis? Was it Coop or was it Hilo? Somebody was talking about him because I thought about it the other day. He was my last pick in a $35 Superflex best ball tourney, and I threw him on a DAC team just as my last pick.
Yeah, he was. I believe that was Hilo that was talking about him. But we knew from Noah Rudell, who's a friend of the show, always comes on to the GOAT District right before the start of the season, and we talk trap players. But he's a big Cowboys fan, and he's very high on Malik Davis. I noticed in his dynasty leagues he was adding Davis everywhere that he could, and he was prioritizing him. He was taking like in the 4th round of rookie drafts, so he wasn't even waiting around as late as he could have. He was just making sure he got him on his team. So when you see a guy who's as dialed into the Cowboys as what Noah is, I definitely take notice, and that's why we grabbed Malik here, because we knew that he was likely to play a decent role. So what we're looking to do, I think, here is still try to see if we can turn a wide receiver and maybe one of our picks into a better running back. We could certainly throw in one of our candidates as well if we need to get a deal done. So, okay. But as always, it seems like once you get past the NFL draft, it just gets a little bit tougher to get those running backs in place. One person we could definitely talk to is G-Dub. GWWYG, as in go with what you got. Good friend of the show, and he has a few running backs here that are definitely of interest to me. What do you think there?
I think that I've been talking to this guy for I don't know how long on Twitter. I had no idea that's what it stood for. I just called them G-Dubs, and I'm like, yeah. I heard you say, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's a lot easier to say G-Dubs than GWWYG. So G-Dubs, shout out to you. We appreciate you listening to the show, and now you're going to be famous because we're going to talk about making a trade.
There you go. So looking at it, I always try to. We talked a bit about this last week. I always, anyways, and I think you're good at that too, Dan. Is you always try to put yourself in the other owner's shoes, like looking at what does he like about his team? What does he not like? Who are guys that don't really fit? Looking at what stands out. And then also who does he have that's hot right now that as whatever we talked about we just talked about someone, you and I, that's kind of got up ADP wise, but the trends, right? Just like we even we just talked about buying guys that people are saying are sells, right? So Does he have any of those guys on his team? Quick look on his team right now. You've got Madison that's picking up steam, but he's not someone that, and we talked about this, Dan, that I'm buying right now with all this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and Madison's somebody that I'm actually looking to sell in another league.
Exactly.
And because here's the thing with Madison, I'm just not real convinced that he's going to have a 3-down role even if Dalvin leaves. I think it's going to be a little bit more chopped up than that.
And that's what you're buying him for. That's what people want for him, right? So if you can get that for him, sell him.
And I don't know what the coach said today. The coach is talking about we see a 3-down skill set. Having a 3-down skill set and having the ability to handle all 3 downs for an entire season, those are 2 very different things. The skill set is great, but there's also endurance and everything else that goes with it. And and some of these players too that seem like they have the skill set just kind of get a little bit more exposed if they if teams see them all the time, and they're running 20-25 touches instead of 8 to 10. So there's a big difference there. But anyway, we do know a couple of players that definitely have a strong skill set. We could make a play for Derrick Henry. We could make a play for James Conner.
I think those are probably the two most possible, because I think Breece Hall right now, just they showed a clip of him running 2,200 miles per hour or whatever it was off his injury, so his stock just went up a bit. J.K. Dobbins, Dan, we liked him since the beginning of the offseason even, and now he's kind of creeping up there, and he's becoming one of those favorite buys across the board. So his price gone up. I don't know if I don't know if you know how much G Dubs is into Kendre Miller, if that's an option, or if he just grabbed him because he was the next man up on the on.
I think he's fairly high on him. The
Okay.
nice thing is when there's an owner like this, if you know an owner well, sometimes the best thing to do is just send out an offer to kind of get things going, and then and then you can hit them up in Twitter DM or whatever, and just kind of talk it out. Say, hey, we sent you an offer. This is kind of roughly what we're looking to do. What players on our team are of interest to you, and how can we make something work? Because a lot of times, if you can get the back and forth going on a DM rather than trying to do it through trade messages and offers and rejections and counter offers and all that, it's just a lot quicker and easier. So I think that's probably what we'll try to do here. But who do you want to make an offer for, and what do you want to offer?
I'm leaning Henry. You and I have Connor. We've bought Connor early this offseason on another high stakes team that we own, and I know you and I have him quite a bit. He's one of my most owned running backs. I'm sure he's one of yours as well. So I think that I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of Derrick Henry. I don't know if I have any at all in Dynasty, to be honest.
I have none in Dynasty currently, so
So maybe we start there. Would you?
yeah.
I mean, I think we both approach similarly. 1 year when you're looking at running back, especially in these high stake leagues, you're not really looking 2-3 years down the road. So if we can squeeze out a nice RB1 season out of Henry, get him at a discount just because of the age situation and the question marks in Tennessee, I think that's another big component there with Tannehill and what's the new guy, Levis?
Levis.
Yeah, a lot of anytime there's uncertainty at the quarterback position and offense, the other pieces are usually you could get at some kind of discount. I mean, G Dubs is, he's a vet dynasty player, so he's not going to be just giving these players away. But I think that's a good place to start is with Derrick Henry. Now looking at just trying to see, so he's got Hawk, Hurst, and he's all right at tight end.
I think he's probably weakest at wide receiver. He's got DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, but then after that, it gets a little more shaky pretty quickly.
I think you're right. So why don't we'll get it into the trade format with his team.
Yep.
And then that way it'll be easier for us to just go through it on this specific roster. I can even post it up right here if you want. Make that a bit bigger for the audience so you guys can see that. And guys, make sure you check out the FFPC, myffpc.com. Use the code GOAT. If you're not already on the site, you'll get an exclusive sign-up bonus with your first deposit. And they've got everything right now, Dan. I mean, we're in a lot of drafts, whether it's the slow best balls, the live best balls. They've got best ball tournaments, $35 buy-in, $125 buy-in. The mains are going, or you can schedule your mains, and they have the Fantasy Pros, which is, I mean, they're going live, they're going slow, they're going all over the place.
We just did the hard way draft on the Fantasy Pros last night, which was
how'd that go,
wild time.
Yeah,
I think we finished that draft in like less than an hour and 20 minutes.
I'm not surprised.
So we were smoking our way through that. It was a fun draft, but oh man, the sniping was just out of control.
Well, that's why it goes quick, right? Because guys have guys ready because they know they have to take them ahead of ADP if they really want them.
So people are ready, but every now and then, your queue just gets destroyed. I had one point where I had 4 players in my queue. There were 4 picks to go, and all 4 of those players disappeared.
So, again, he's pretty tuned in, G Dubs.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not going to sneak anything by G Dubs.
Yeah, because I'm looking at our team. I'm like, oh, there's talk of Hopkins going to Cleveland, so let's send him Amari Cooper.
Yeah, but then Cooper's still a great player. So but Elijah Moore has started to gain a lot of steam. So that might be something as well. But he also likes younger players, and he likes trying to get younger while keeping in his win now window. So I think there might be something there, maybe with Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, maybe as well, because we could do something like Amari Cooper in a second for Derrick Henry, and I mean I think that's a pretty fair deal for a player, that could, like Henry, where the wheels could fall off at any time.
Yeah. Let me go to our old friend, the Player Profiler Dynasty Trade Analyzer.
Yeah, see what you get there.
Just to see, again, Dan and I like to check these just to make sure we're not totally off either way,
Yep.
Sometimes you have an idea in your head, but then the rest of the market doesn't have that same idea. So this is a good way to kind of keep your trades level. Again, it's not Bible. It doesn't have to be totally even. It's just, are you on the right level, when you're sending these offers? Because you don't want to insult the other guy. You don't want to,
right,
kind of miss an opportunity or. So right now it's 152 to 115 in favor of the Amari side. He's got 2/3. Okay.
Yeah. And I think we're going to have to give up a little bit more to get Derrick Henry. I mean, I think we're the ones who want to make the deal.
For sure.
So it's probably, we're going to have to make it a sweeter offer for him.
And we talked about this last week, Dan. Do we go with, and it kind of worked in the Tua one, right? Where we said, we readjusted. We said, let's go on a, kind of offer where there might be a little of wiggle room left if we need to, as opposed to going full out best offer and then having to give up more than you really want to get the deal done.
So let me guess, you're thinking Amari in a second for Derrick Henry in a third?
Yeah. Just to start the convo.
Do it. Let's do that.
All right. So I'll send that.
And then I think I have an idea of another one we could send.
Nice. Let's do it. Same owner or different owner?
Yeah, same owner. And also for Derrick Henry.
We sending our second?
We're sending our second. He's sending his third.
Okay. And Cooper. All right. Offer sent.
All right.
There it is. So we'll see what he comes back with. If he, these guys are pretty direct. They'll let you know if they're interested, not interested. If they've got, an idea that they prefer, they'll send it. Or like you said, Dan, he might just jump in the DMs with us.
Right. Or we might just jump in with him. But I have another idea that we can send to him for Derrick Henry.
Okay.
What about if we did Elijah Moore in a second for Derrick Henry straight up?
Beauty.
I think Elijah Moore is worth a little bit less than Amari Cooper, but he is younger. So I think that helps out. If he's looking that he's going, oh, I don't want to make a lateral move age wise, from Derrick Henry to Amari Cooper. This might help him out because now he's getting a much younger player.
I mean, I think in one of our first shows we talk about giving your opponent or possible trade partner options. It always just opens the possibility of the deal actually happening when you're able to offer more than one option. Because then sometimes they're just comparing the two offers and they just like the one that's better, in their eyes.
Right, exactly. And then we could also look at trying to deal with Theo for Nick Chubb.
The OG fantasy.
Don't know if he's willing to part with him, but Theo's probably looking to win now. But I think for Chubb,
I think if he wants to win now, he really needs Gibbs to be an RB1 for him.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't see anything past that. Like it's Gibbs and Chubb, and then that's it. I mean, Jamal Williams, you'll put him in.
Yeah. So maybe. I think you're right.
I don't think
probably not the best. I mean, and Theo's somebody we can always talk to and say, hey, we're interested in Chubb. What do you think?
Like the only other option that I would have for something like that is if you gave him a pivot. Like if you gave him like Fournette and a second, or I'm just throwing it out there, as an example. Right. But if you offer someone a pivot, even though they have maybe not as many at the position, at least you're replacing it with something else, and then you're adding value somewhere else for them. So that's the only problem is we don't really have a good pivot.
Right. Let me throw up my screen on the the stream real quick here. Because one thing that I think definitely makes a difference, we can tell that he's going for it because if you look here at his 2024 draft picks down on the very bottom line,
yeah,
he's traded away his first and second already. So that tells me that he's definitely trying to go for it this year. So Nick Chubb is probably going to be pretty off limits unless
100%.
we were able to offer some kind of really sweet deal.
100%. Andrew doesn't really have much running back. He's got Rashad White and then a bunch of scrubs.
Yep, and he wants a first for White. So I politely told him to go pound sand.
What's this team? Is this a contending team? Yeah, they've got Kelsey and Kittle, yeah, for sure. All right, never mind.
Yep.
And then this CMC team, Akers, maybe. They have a lot of receivers. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Probably win now because you've got Dalvin, CMC, Barkley. And
yeah,
then,
he could definitely use some help at receiver though. So worth making an offer. One thing we could do is we could just make an offer for Dalvin Cook. He might be looking to get rid of him. There's a lot of people who are looking to get out on Dalvin since there's so much uncertainty surrounding him.
all about buying Dalvin right now.
So let's
Whose team was that?
That was Cavalry Golden Tanks.
I got it right here. Okay.
All right. I'll pull mine off.
Boom, 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 boom. All right. So he's got Dalvin. What's his tight ends? He's got Pitts and Ertz, receivers. A lot of depth guys.
Yeah, exactly. So he might be looking more for a frontline starter. So
Cooper.
again, I think Cooper makes a good offer. I would even, I think, because Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, we don't want to be trading away those for a guy like Dalvin.
No.
Those players would require a very high-end asset to come back. More than one in the case of Justin Jefferson.
But I don't know that I would need something else back with it, no? For Cooper?
Yeah, for Cooper, I think we'd want Dalvin plus a little something. And that might be a place where we could look at.
Wow, it's actually closer than I thought.
Yeah, it's not too far off. But
I didn't think it was, to be honest. Just the general sentiment right now on Cook.
What does the trade calculator say? How close is it?
86.95, and they would favor a Cook.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was thrown off a bit.
All right. Well, that's not the worst. That's I think we're both better teams.
For the swap.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are all right. I know I said last week, I think I'm not a big swap guy, but if it's positions.
Yeah, when you're crossing positions to make, because he gets stronger if he has a better wide receiver. We get stronger if we have a better running back. So.
Yeah. All right. You want to just send that?
Yeah, we can just send that. If he, and honestly,
we could always do the same thing and send Elijah in a third or something. I don't know, as another one.
Yeah, let's see where he goes with Cooper because I think he's probably going to be looking for more of a frontline guy. But
okay.
I don't know. We could send. We could try it with Elijah as well.
Okay.
And then if he's not interested, we can also come back and see about throwing in what about throwing in Devin Singletary? What about throwing in Raheem Mostert? As well, because that's somebody that we could afford to lose. We might be losing the deal on paper, but if it gets us Dalvin Cook, I think it makes us a better team.
All right, there you have it. We've got 3 offers out in the Dynasty Depot. We went through our deal for Tua in the Money League. I think that's good for this Friday, Dan. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you smash the like. Always helps us. Always helps support the show. If you can share this with your friends, anyone you think might be interested that's into Dynasty, like us D-Gens, we appreciate that. We appreciate you tuning in with us. Dan, always a blast, brother. We'll check you all later.
district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.